the gravitonic accelerator, yes, those engines, those you can't overpower and break the tow by that. But okay, for tow, you've got that. There's also the thing of towing first, I'll go that later. And always use primary enemy setting on. That's important, because if your ships are towed somewhere and a mistake is made and you can actually kill something, use that opportunity by using the primary enemy there. And against privateers, this is very cool and simple thing. When you go to a planet, change the planet friendly code to something, same with the ship, and set the mission to beam up fuel. Because what happens is that if the privateer robs your ship empty and takes the planet by dropping clans there, the friendly code is still the same as with the ship, so you are able to beam up fuel from the planet. So that's a good thing against the privateers. But some tactics. First of all, for example, in this case, in this planet, my enemy sees it's filled with cloakers all the time and I'm destroying his ships. So don't go there. You don't need to be there. If you see that it's full of privateer and cloak ships, pick another place to be. If you have to be there, then you might want to tow with lower ID, because tows, like minesweeping and everything in this game, happen in ID order. So, like in this case, let's go back in time when there actually were ships on this planet. Like here. I had this high ID Darkwings. I towed the Nebula. If any of these ships with 2 engines with lower ID would have towed that Nebula to some other place from that planet, they would have moved first and I could have not towed that Nebula. So if you have a low ID ship with 2 engines, you can always tow the higher ID ships away, and also those with 1 engines, and the higher ID ships can't tow those lower ID ships then. But you have to move them away, because if you are staying in the same place in space, the other player can then try to tow again. Or if the tow breaks, they might, because of the 4 fingers mentioned earlier, if the tow breaks, they can try to tow. So that's one thing. You could tow with the lower ID. And then, when you are intercepting these pesky cloakers, for example, let's see a funny situation that happened just recently. Let's go to time machine and something like turn 70. Here, my dead specula is coming to the evil empire space, and just on this turn, here's a minefield, sudden minefield, and I took a hit and I'm damaged, 88% damage. This is full of course, evil empire ships. What can I do? Well, I have a rather high ID, 380. I intercept my own ship that is farther north. And what happens is some evil empire ships appear here. What they are doing is they are trying to intercept my ship. But they have lower ID. My ID is higher. So when everything happens in ID order in this game, these ships move first to the place and position where this ship was, and then my ship moves away. Then it hits a mine. But this is something that you can use to evade interceptors. So if you have you are intercepting attacking ship, remember to use higher ID than what that is, so they can use this intercept trick to dribble past your defensive lines. Then you can intercept your own ships. For example, again, when we go back in time and to that one planet, it was full of Federation ships. What he could have done, he could have, for example, used those Novas, Gorbis and everything to intercept the key ships here, like the Nebula. One could intercept like warp 1 in case somebody tows it into the warp well. Then they could intercept with warp 6 or something if I would tow it just close by, but I always sometimes do. Or if you think you can manage to control the minefields and you have enough fuel, you could use it to intercept with warp 9 and go as far as possible. So you could intercept your own ships, so if I tow them away, they follow them. Then you can intercept hyp ships, hyperjump ships. If you have a hyperjump ships and you want to keep this nebula on this planet, what you could do is you set a hyperjump ship to jump to this planet and you use that nebula to intercept that hyperjump ship. What happens then in the host order is that first in the game we see that the tow is broken because the nebula is moving warp 9 to somewhere else. But the hyperjump ships jump first to the planet and the intercept ship moves then to the place where the hyperjump ship is, so it stays where it is, thus breaking the tow. But I wouldn't do that so much, but I usually move right next to the planet because hyperjump ships have only one engine, so they could tow that away unless you can counter that somehow. Then of course you can arrive without fuel. So if I'm intercepting your ship and set primary enemy to attack it, if it's fuelless I can't attack it because there's no fuel. So you arrive to a planet, you can calculate it that way and also jettison some fuel, so you only have that amount of fuel that you need to travel to the planet, so it arrives fuelless. And then you can leave from the planet with the high waypoint, so it will break all tows if that happens. Then it's important to keep changing the ship mass every now and then, because what happens later on the 74, I have this Resolute that tows the Corby away from the planet so I can attack it. And this Resolute is using 132 fuel, and I've transferred fuel to other ships, so I will use exactly that. So when I am in the middle of the space, the Resolute that towed that Corby away is fuelless, so the Corby can't attack. Now I have another Resolute there, cloaked, that transfers 200 neutronium to that Resolute and it cloaks, and now I didn't lose a single ship here. But if this Corby would have, damn fly, those Hova spies, if that Corby would have changed its mass just a bit, bigger or smaller, this either would have fallen short if there would be more mass, and the Corby would be around here, and my Resolute couldn't have transferred fuel to another Resolute, or if it would have been lighter, the Resolute would still have some fuel, and if this Corby would have set to kill or primary enemy, it would have destroyed my Resolute. So change the ship mass. This is also important against the privateers, because they usually want to tow your ships away from the planets into the space. So there's a wolf pack waiting, cloaked, or another ship's also empty, and they will rob you there one by one. So if you change the ship mass, you can mess some of that tow action. And then, important thing, if you are in the same place with the damaged ship, here is a situation where I towed a Missouri into the warp well to be destroyed, but my ship was damaged and there are no supplies to fix it. First I tried to hang around in the warp well a bit, and the Nova comes to intercept it. So what I do is I fly fuelless here and arrive fuelless there, and there's a Resolute waiting. Again, the same thing. And now here's a Nova class super dreadnought. I also put some supplies so it's repaired and it can escape farther away. But when those ships are fuelless and you happen to be in the same place, it's important for that Nova, for example, to at least put just 1 kiloton of fuel to my Darkwing if he wants to destroy it, intercept it and destroy it, because every now and then you can't be there and for the fuelless ship, and if it goes somewhere and it has that extra fuel, you are able to destroy it. For example, if I would have had 43 fuel in my fuel tank, it would have been destroyed now at the moment. So if you have the possibility, you are in the same place with the ship, you tow it somewhere and you want to destroy it, put 1 kiloton of fuel there. Remember, you need 25 kilotons of fuel if you want to escape a tow. So 1 kiloton of fuel doesn't change a thing, you can still tow it wherever you want. Of course they can also then execute missions like minesweep and stuff, but to be sure it's a good way. So those were my ways of playing as the bird and other cloaking races. I want to move in without any casualties. I want to control the situation. I want to sweep the minefields and lay counter minefields and be on the planets to see what's going on there. And I want to destroy enemy ships and planets and supply lines, and so I don't take any casualties myself, but only inflict damage to the economy of the opponent. This is war of attrition. This is painfully slow, but it's also extremely efficient. And in the long run, what is happening here is that he only have mainly Novas and Corbys and such like that with low fuel that are able to move in a very small area, and I can take all the rest of the planets, and if he manages to take my planets back, I can just drop a few clans there with the cloaked ships, and I've won this game in around, it takes about 20 turns and I've won. Okay, then a bonus. As I mentioned, it's very important for me as a cloaking player, but also with carrier races, to know where your ships are and where they are going. If we move with the long waypoint. If we move a ship like this, that it takes many turns to move, then we will be visible on the starboard with long waypoint. If we move shorter than what we could during the turn, or exactly that, we are only a dot on the screen. But if you see a ship anywhere and you have a ship somewhere, anywhere on the map, and it has some fuel, warp 0, and it's set to intercept another ship, you can see where it went. Next turn it has followed that line over there, has followed the ship to where it went. So you can see you have this radar of these rubbish ships, like this one I captured from the robot. It's got start at 1. I don't do anything with that, but it's a radar. I can recycle it later, and it's a radar that follows some key ships from my opponent. Also, another bonus from my robot game. In this robot game, I have just conquered Birdman area at this point, and I'm moving from here onwards, and here is a key planet that yields almost 200 kilotons of newtonium each turn. So I like that planet. But the problem is there's a resolute there, cloaked, and he could tow away my large freighters and other ships and destroy them, like I just did in my previous game I showed you. But here's a tactical thing. See, this planet, if you will take a measurement, is 83.7 light years away from that planet. And what happens here is that if I have a transwarp ship, actually if I press the Q key, it doesn't show this gray line because it's over 81 light years. It's not connected. But if I travel to the point of this warp well, it's 80.8. So it arrives in one turn to this planet. If I press directly to the planet, you can see this yellow circle here. It will not go directly to the planet, it will stop here. But if I put here, it will fly in one turn. And if I set the waypoint here, what happens is that it's over 81 light years, so I break any toes. So what happens is this resolute tries during the following turns to tow something away from this planet multiple times, as there is a lot of traffic. There's cat's paws, there's lost freighters, there's Q tankers, and they come from here with transwap and they fly here, but they always break the tow because of this distance. This is a nice avian planet that I have 4 starbase. Yes, but so if you face a skilled cloaker player, don't be anxious. You know now what to do. Have fun in the Echo Cluster.